Hi friends, I'm Prairie Vintage. My name's Linda. I'm an energy intuitive reader here on YouTube, and I use spirit, my intuition, and the tarot to communicate energies to you guys, amazing viewers. And as promised, I am doing a monthly look ahead at the relationship between you and the person on your mind. This person could be anyone at all, doesn't have to be romantic, although like I mentioned, you guys generally come here for your love reading. So if there are romantic sort of messages, intimate messages here in this reading, then you can leave those for someone else. Although the general gist of the energy should be matching between you and the person on your mind, which we'll be taking a look at person A versus person B and the energy between you and the person on your mind. And then we'll be taking a look at what is in store for the month ahead. The month ahead, though, is a loose term. Energetically, we can't pinpoint exactly 31 days, so it is approximation. All of you guys travel different speeds on your timeline in this frequency. Okay, so this could be passing, present, or future energies, depending where you sit on the timeline, although we're looking at the month ahead between you and the person on your mind, and what sort of energy is coming between you and this person. All right, so let's take a look at this. And before I get into this reading, I do want to extend my gratitude here to you guys. I am so blessed to be here. I want to extend my gratitude to God and allowing me to do your reading today and being here for me during the difficult times, and of course during the blessed times. I'm always blessed, although I don't always feel so blessed. So I do love you guys very much, and I am so excited to be here. If you're new to this channel, welcome, and if you're returning, welcome. I am so grateful to have you guys here and your support, and you guys are all very safe and welcome in this space with me today, so thank you so much. Let's take a look at our three options. The timestamp will be in the description box and in the pinned comment below. It'll take you directly to your pick. For option 1, we have this beautiful blue bird and these purple flowers. For option 2, we have this beautiful bird with the pink underbelly sitting on the pink flowers. I don't know what kind of birds these are. This kind of looks like a sparrow, although I know sparrows probably aren't pink. I don't know if there's such a bird here. Or if this is a blue bird. I know it's not a blue jay, that's for sure, but blue bird. Sparrow type looking bird. And then we have this little yellow bird. Kind of looks like a canary, I'm not sure. And it's also sitting on pink flowers for option 3. Beautiful birdies. So, beautiful viewers, take a look at these 3 options. I'll leave the video running for a bit. 1, 2, 3, and we'll take a look at you versus the person on your mind. You can fall into either side of whichever sort of person I'm tapping into, and we'll take a look at the month ahead. All right, so I will see you guys at your pick. Hello, my beautiful, gorgeous angels. You guys picked the bluebird with the purple flowers here. And we're going to take a look at you and the person on your mind and the energy between you and this person for the month ahead. All right. And so that you know whether this is your message or not, we'll look at person A versus person B. You can be either side. I don't know which energy you fall into, but you could be either side of these. And if you resonate with one side, then your person is the other side, okay? And sometimes there's mirroring, so it might be hard to tell who is who. All right, which sometimes happens in a relationship. So just try to use your intuition in regards to what you'll see, feel, or hear to determine whether the messaging is your message. And once you confirm this, that you are on either side A or B, then we'll take a look at the energy between you and this person for the month ahead. Again, loose term, month ahead is not necessarily 31 days. This could be a bit longer, a bit shorter, depending where you fall in the timeline. Okay, could be passing, present, or future energies because you guys are all in different sort of places on your timeline. Okay, so let's take a look and see what we have. So for pile 1, person A, we have the underworld. Okay, wowzers. This is number 48. So 48 could be significant. or number 12 or number 3 with the underworld. I'm feeling Scorpio energy. We have the Crow. I'm feeling more Scorpio energy. Now, that doesn't mean this person is necessarily a Scorpio sun. Could have heavy Scorpio placements or just the energy that they've been encompassing, okay? Could be Scorpio. So we have air energy, and air is Gemini, Libra, Aquarius as well, although I am feeling heavy Scorpio. And we have the Wolf. I feel more Scorpio energy coming through very strong here with the Wolf. And we also have the Clock. Need time. Takes time, in time, cycles, time to heal, and progress. Where do we put this? Over here? No. I'll put that right there. Okay, let's take a look at person B. So we have the Crone. Interesting with the Crow. Different oracle pack here with the Crone. This is number 13. Scorpio energy coming very strong here with this group. Okay, Scorpio's very intense sort of energy with the Crone. And we have the Sea Serpent with the Ouroboros. Sea Serpent getting heavy water, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And we also have the Shadow Person. Feeling more Scorpio. I'm also feeling Capricorn energy. And we have Ascending. Transcending obstacles, learning expansion, new phase, and preparing for union. Wowzers. Okay. So I'm going to call this person the Crow. I'm going to call this person the Sea Serpent. Okay. Just instead of doing AB, I'm going to do it this way. And we're going to tap into these energies, see who's who, and you might fall on the right or the left, okay? And then if this one side resonates with your energy, your person is on the other side, and then we'll look at the month ahead energy. So let me just sit here with this energy and grab my wand and tap into what this is all about here, okay? So give me a minute. Okay, easy energy here. Not easy, but easily to read because I feel it's very clear. This person, the Crow person, has been in a very heavy energy, dealing with a lot of stuff here, okay? It's difficult for this person to tell sort of what's matrixy, like in front of them, what they have to deal with, and then what they're dealing with spiritually and emotionally and physically, mentally. Like I feel like this person is, to be honest, like a can of worms I'm really getting here from the underworld. But I feel like there's a lot coming from the subconscious. And I feel like this person has been pretty removed in trying to sort through some of their challenges. So they've been sort of trying to go it alone. They might have been, yeah, just removed here. Maybe kind of sitting in hermit energy, trying to reflect, trying to connect with a certain part of themselves. I feel like this person has been receiving downloads here, although whether they're aware of it or not, I don't know that they can sort through whether there's mental chatter, meaning it's coming from ego and experience and our filter of what we think in our mind versus what they know and feel and coming from God and spirit here as a download spiritually to this person. And this connection has been something they've been trying to sort through, but I feel like it's all kind of coming up here in one big can of worms, big jumbled mess this person has been probably trying to sort through. I feel like this person has been in some sort of emotional pain, you know, because it seems very heavy and stressful here, having to sort through and deal with what is real, what is valuable, and what is unnecessary, what is past pain, what is currently having to be dealt with, and what it needs to be thrown away. This person does feel like they're pretty prideful. No, I don't feel prideful. I feel proudful, like they want to hang on to their, I don't know if there's a difference, but I feel like they want to hang on to their pride. So they might be not asking for any support, you know, regarding this. They might not even be communicating in the 3D verbal way to this sea serpent in regards to what they're experiencing. So the sea serpent could potentially not be in the 3D world being informed of what's going on here with this crow person. So I feel like this crow person is going through a very intense cycle of healing, or a point in their life of healing. They are making progress, although they might not feel like they're making progress, because there's a lot here that they're having to sort through. You know, what is real? What is just my mind? What is my ego? What is causing me pain that actually doesn't exist, that I might be nurturing or believing to be true based on what I think I'm supposed to be or who I am, that I've told myself that I'm actually not? And so Spirit is coming in here to really deliver messages. I feel like this person is hurting, okay, emotionally. And I do feel as though this person might have reached out to the sea serpent energetically. It could have been verbally, but I don't feel like they've been completely upfront or honest with the challenge or the struggle, as my email goes off confirming. The challenge, the struggle, they're actually feeling here, okay? And I feel like they're proudful, and having to sort through. They want to be strong here, I feel there's an energy here of someone who is very much about family and being strong for other people, maybe at the expense of having to carry a burden here of their struggle. I don't know necessarily that this person feels they've made progress with their healing, but this person has certainly made progress with their healing, because I think they're in the weeds of this. They're certainly in the weeds of this, okay? And so they might feel very much like they're drowning in regards to what they're experiencing here. And I don't feel it's necessarily healing because of anything that's happened here with the sea serpent, so much as things coming up from this person that hasn't been dealt with. Past experiences, things in their subconscious, things in their ego, things that they've told themselves that is true about who they are that might not necessarily be who they are, that they're having to sever off or deal with parting. Certain shadow aspects of themselves that they're seeing, and they're not sure, like, is this who I authentically am, or is this a part of a false sort of mask that I've been wearing, or as a protective sort of coat that I put on here to protect myself or people I love, or just where I'm thinking that I'm supposed to be headed. There's a lot here this person is unpacking, okay? Very heavy energy I feel here. Now, wow, sea serpent energy. I feel this person has gone through potentially what this crow person has already, okay, with the sea serpent. I do feel this could be a spiritual sort of dark night of the soul, you know, where we just don't know what's up and down. I feel like this person has gone through figuring out more of who they are and tapping into the divine and what is ego and what they've experienced and how to deal with it and how to integrate shadow. And I feel like this person is more experienced here, okay? And it could be more experienced in a relationship. But I feel like this person is more experienced in their understanding of what it means to shed things in our life that don't serve us. And my doorbell went off. I'll be right back, okay? You might hear barking because my daughter's at the door, but okay, where was I? Sorry. So the experience here has been something that has touched the sea serpent pretty deeply, because I feel like the sea serpent has gone through already, if not one, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 cycles of dark night of the soul, and understanding who they truly are and what they need to shed, and parts of them that are healing. And as we know, healing is a continuous cycle. It's never really over, you know. And one thing we know for sure is that we know nothing at all. So this person might be in realization that they are open to the universe because they don't know everything, and so therefore the universe delivers more experience. And I feel like this person is very in tune with the shadow side of who they are and why they've been how they've been in their life, and potentially in this connection. So I think this person has shined a light of awareness on their shadow self. Okay, parts of maybe why they get triggered around crow person, what is causing shadow person to feel certain ways that maybe in the past they weren't aware of. Maybe it was on autopilot or in the subconscious where they weren't present or conscious of their actions or why they were feeling how they were feeling. And now there's a light on this, although I don't feel this person's like completely healed and out of shadow. I feel like this person's aware. And once we're aware of our shadow, we can then be very present and conscious with it and work with the energy to integrate it into who we are and accept parts of our shadow that we cannot burn off or go away, and accept it in a loving way rather than condemn it or refuse it, because it makes it sort of hide deeper in the shadows. But we greet it and we forgive it. And I feel this person has done this and is very aware of what hurts them, what challenges them, when they feel triggered, specifically in this connection I feel here. So I do feel like this person is ascending into a greater version of themselves and integrating shadow aspects of themselves, because I feel this person is very aware and very experienced with who they are authentically, and working on severe sort of transformation and healing and shedding and observation. So there is a focus on self, although I do feel it could have certainly been triggered by this connection with the crow. And so I do feel as though these people are kind of on their own parallel paths that aren't connected right now, because I feel like there's a strong having to ascend and a powerful energy of growth here and working on self, because there's a realization, okay, of an independent self that is authentic, detached from any other connection or relationship, that this person's working on their best self and identifying triggers and experiences here that have been shoved down in the shadow self. And this person is definitely working on shadows, although I feel like if this were a meter, this person's kind of dealing with more root chakra type things. Okay, so they're ascending as well, although I feel like this ascension for sea serpent person is a lot more in the higher realms of the chakra here when it comes to spirituality and tapping into the divine and understanding self. Okay, more closer to sort of heart consciousness, or yeah, I just feel like this person is kind of a little bit more of a broader sort of grasp, whereas this person might feel a little bit like they're drowning, you know, and this is part of the process. And it could certainly be the beginning of a spiritual awakening or the beginning of a dark night of the soul. And so it is quite painful here, more things come up, and it's taken quite some time for this person. Okay, so if you resonate with either side here, we're going to take a look at the energy of the month ahead between these two people, and then we'll pull some tarot as well to see what sort of energy comes through. And I'm going to do this and do this, so we have some space here between these two. So we have winter, 16, or the number 7. 7's all about faith and wisdom. It's also reflection and understanding. 7, it could be the Chariot, which is all about victory, movement. It's also integrating the shadow, which we were getting from both sides. And I feel that's more the stronger message, because winter things are frozen. So I don't feel things are moving, but I feel the victory is here with the Chariot. And the victory is in self sort of conquering. Although this might feel like defeat, it's certainly a conquering step, because it's moving up and ascending from being in root chakra or ego or in the subconscious asleep to someone who is now at least aware. Okay, who is at least aware here, although they're having to sort through, whereas this person certainly is ascending because they're integrating shadow. But I do feel like between the two, the winter is this frozen period, because I don't feel things are moving, although like I say, Chariot does come through here. but also does the tower, because the tower reduced is also 7. And the tower is this sort of falling away of illusion. And as we know, ego and our matrix self is all about illusion. And this falls away, especially during dark night of the soul. We detach from versions of self that we've created, that we believe to be ourselves, that we've built our sort of self upon. And then we can only build certain height before the tower falls apart. We can only go so long before the tower falls apart. Okay, some people can go lifetimes with illusions and false self, but as we keep ascending and growing and reincarnating as energy, we keep sort of growing spiritually. We eventually get to a point, and we could be anywhere on the journey, where things that no longer are our authentic self fall away and must fall away in order for us to return back to self. So I feel like this connection has been stuck. Okay, and I do feel as though the progress is moving individually. And this is happening over the next month, because this is sort of the energy that's coming into play in the next month here with the winter. So it could feel very much like the crow and the sea serpent are apart, or feel abandoned by one another. It could be, like we're not supported or protected or by each other, but in a way there is this sort of independent growth that needs to happen. And then we have the lead. So lead is a very sort of heavy energy. We have the black and white, the yin, the yang, masculine, feminine, the duality here. And I feel like this is also the integration of shadow, the dark and the light. Okay, so I feel like both these people are at a point here where they're having to integrate shadow. Like this is kind of where they're at, and this is why this connection is coming to a halt, because there's only certain progress we can make with the energy in which we're in. So I'm seeing temperance. Okay, and temperance is, we work with an external energy in order to create a third sort of entity. And if we're in one energy and working with another in a fixed way, the creation will become always that same sort of creation. If we raise our frequency or lower our frequency, then the creation of these two ingredients create a third energy that's different. So in order to make progress, we need to ascend. Okay, and like I said, both are ascending. Whether they're both sort of ascending on the same level, I don't feel so. And it's not saying one's kind of better than the other, or greater, or smarter, or more intelligent, or more spiritually in tune, as though, although one might be more open, which I feel is the sea serpent here. One might have done more shedding, which I feel is the sea serpent here. Shedding of ego, shedding of illusion, more fell away, and more working on self, more awareness of the shadow part. Okay, now this doesn't mean this person's completely abandoned their shadow self. This just means when we shine the light on the shadow parts of us, it can no longer hide. And so when it comes up, it's no longer in the subconscious, because we become very aware who we are, why we're saying it, or at least we're aware we're saying it. Okay, we might not know why so much, but this sort of doesn't matter when we do shadow work. It's more of us being very present and aware of things we do and say, and the reasoning and intention behind it. And then once we're aware of it, we can either greet it, welcome it, change it, but it no longer hides in shadow. Okay, and where this person, everything's coming up from the subconscious, is a big can of worms here, I feel. It's a big mess here, okay? And I don't mean mess as in this person can't figure it out ever. It's this person's trying to sort through this, and it's very difficult. So I feel like there's heavy energies between these two people just individually. But I feel like the language here is one speaking one language, one speaking the other. And so even if they tried to come together, I don't feel that they're going to speak the same language. So the universe is sort of doing this divine protection, because I do feel one's in masculine energy and one could potentially be in feminine. Now, this does not necessarily mean that there's genders happening here in one feminine, masculine gender, but it means that on the journey, there is the energy we encompass of either masculine or feminine and try to balance that out. So I feel both are being balanced out, but the language they might be understanding might not jive together. So therefore there's this divine protection winter period and this frozen energy of stuckness between these two. So we have the letter, news, resolution, communication. So this to me is a good sign because this is all about the communication we can have between the two, which could come in form of verbal speaking or writing, texting, emailing. But I feel like what's really coming through here, because the very strong stuck energy here, is the understanding. There's an understanding here of energy that's being communicated in order to find a resolution. And that's what's sticking through here. It's like the resolution is, I understand you, Crow, are going through what you need to go through and need time. And I need to be understanding of divine timing. And my experience has shown me that if I push or get involved here in this, it's not going to help. So I'm going to be very focused on self. Okay, and so there's a resolution here because this allows Crow person to not feel pressured. This allows Crow person to take the time to sort through. This allows a Crow person to find a resolution in regards to what they're going through here. Okay, so there's space being made and a communication here, I feel, telepathically in regards to an understanding. But I don't know necessarily that there's open dialogue. There could be communication between the Crow and the sea serpent, but I feel as very surface. I don't feel as though it's communicating what's exactly going on. I feel like it is just this sort of energetic understanding and acceptance that allows there to be a resolution of this ascension within each of these people. So we have the mature woman certainly coming through with this crone. Divine feminine energy. We have socialite, connector, and high society. I feel like sea serpent is certainly coming into this strong divine feminine sort of energy, okay, leading this connection, which I do feel is very spiritual here. And the divine feminine sort of understands or experiences dark night of the soul, spiritual awakening in a way here that leads the journey here, okay? And so I feel like she is, and I say she again, it's not gender, it's more of an energy, is really working on becoming the best sort of version of self, learning all about self-worth and authenticity of who she is as a divine feminine energy. And then we have career, business success, and advancement. So we don't take words so literal as we do the energy. And I feel like career here is giving me very 3D. So this is certainly feels more like matrix twin, which could be divine masculine energy. But it is more of a 3D focus on what's in front of this person. So if sea serpent can remember back to the triggering or the catalyst of their shift energetically, spiritually, I don't know if this person was born awake, but I do feel as though they were triggered into an awakening here based on their connection with the Crow. But if they could remember back to the time where they were triggered, they will recall it started in the matrix world, which was how they invest their time, what's around them, what's physically sort of going on. And so I feel like this is what's happening with the Crow. The Crow is questioning, you know, am I doing what I'm supposed to be doing, who I'm supposed to be here in the matrix world, investing where I'm supposed to be investing my time, my energy, whether it be with work or whatever I'm doing here in the matrix world, who I'm hanging around with, where I'm investing my time, how I'm sort of attaching or attributing, I should say, success. You know, whatever it was that I found successful, is that actually success, or was this sort of a construct of my matrix belief that I found success to be, you know, what my career was, or how much money I had, or what I built for myself, or where I lived, or who I hung out with. Like, that's all matrix sort of mindset that's being turned inside out, that I feel this person is now wanting to peel this back, well, whether they want to or not, I'm not sure that they want to so much as it's coming from the subconscious, because I feel like this is their journey. Okay, their journey is to wake them up from the matrix to see what is actual success and advancement of self, you know, and how much weight do they put on spiritual advancement, and how much weight do they put on the matrix advancement, and how do they deal with this? So we have the cross, number 12. 12's coming through again because I believe we had, was it this one? This is 48. Yeah, this was 12. And 12 reduces to 3, which is all about growth, relationships, and initial success. Okay, 12 is also the hangman, which is how we perceive things, and we can have a complete 180. You know, and I feel like for sure for this crow, because when we have a spiritual awakening or a dark night of the soul, everything we thought could be turned on its axis here, and we could be just questioning who we are and what we've been involved with, and completely upside down. Okay, but because this is shared energy, I feel like there is a change and a shift of perception here, and the way we sort of engage. And the cross is all about faith, and I feel like this is also talking about the history here has been very challenging between these two, to have to sort of carry through and make it through here. We see the heart in the center of this cross. And it's like we've had to maintain the faith despite the pain, and tap into heart consciousness, you know, an unconditional love, return back to self, and think with the heart rather than the mind. And then we have, the whirlwind with 46. Or the number 10. 10 is the end of a cycle. It's also about transformation. So I feel like there is a massive transformation here, although I don't feel like it's complete yet. I feel it's amidst the transformation. And so with this whirlwind, it's giving me that tower energy we were feeling, where everything kind of gets upside down. But I feel like this crow is going through more of a whirlwind period in the month ahead, where things that they might have believed to be true of themselves are flipped upside down. And so they might feel like they don't have any control. They might feel like they're having to depend on their faith. And certainly Sea Serpent has been having to trust on their faith in God, and faith in spirit, in regards to what they can trust when it comes to this connection and coming together, because I feel like things have been very cold and stuck. So there's a leaning in on an unspoken here between these two people of a connection. And I do feel like things are really kind of upside down and very much polarized with this black and white. And so we can either lean into the energy of it's not working and we're on two different sort of pages and feel hopeless and discouraged. But I feel because the Sea Serpent is a very strong experience sort of energy here, and 13 again, this transformation is coming through, and ascended enough to understand the shadow part of self that says, I'm, you know, unloved potentially by the crow, or this experience isn't giving me the outcome that I want in the matrix world, so I'm going to act out or do something here in shadow. They're very present, and they're saying, I have faith here that this could certainly be part of this journey, a temporary part of this journey where things need to fall away and be shaken in order for me to really sort of grow here spiritually and ascend into the best version of myself, which is tapping into this unconditional love of myself, but also how they feel about this crow person here, because they've experienced potentially this underworld as well, where things come from the subconscious, feeling very alone, dealing with matrix, having to find value in things outside of just the physical, and understanding that this is on divine timing and not their timing, not the ego's timing, not what they will it to be, but what the ego or what's divine timing and the universe is wanting. Nothing to do with ego's sort of need for quick answers. So this takes a lot of faith, Okay, although I do feel there's pain here, because I feel like the pain here is in there being sort of a frozen divide between these two people, you know, like maybe not energetically or spiritually, but I feel in a coming together here in the matrix world, or having to engage in energies that help create something together. It's stuck. So we're looking at the month ahead, and we're going to ask Spirit for a clear and concise message here for the beautiful pile 1 and their person. What is going on here between pile 1 and the person on their mind for the month ahead, Spirit? Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good of pile 1. And thank you so much, pile 1, for allowing me to tap into your energy, the energy around you at this time. I'm so blessed and grateful to be here today. Thank you so much. Spirit, why is the devil here? We have the 10 wands in reverse. Can we clarify the Knight of Swords in reverse, Spirits? And why is the Knight of Swords in reverse here? 5 Pentacles. And why is this Queen of Wands here? And we have the 9 Swords in reverse and the King of Cups in reverse. And the bottom of the deck, we have the Ace of Wands. I don't read bottom of the deck reverse. And under that, we have 8 Swords in reverse. Okay, so we have Capricorn energy, we have Aries, Leo, Sagittarius energy, and we have Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. Okay, so the devil here is certainly representing ego, and I don't normally read devil as ego, but the devil is the shadow self, okay, which this reading is all about integrating shadow self, unhealthy parts of self, and having to deal with our unhealthy ego. Unhealthy actions, part of the subconscious that creeps up and is habitual and makes us do certain things that aren't very in line with the greatest version of self. Bad habits, reactions. And so I feel like both parties have been dealing with the shadow self, but I feel specifically with the underworld hero and the crow person, there is this need to sort of really shine the light on the devil. Really shine the light on their shadow self. And I feel like this devil has been here for quite some time. But the fact that we see 10 wands in reverse, I feel like this person can no longer sort of be blind to the devil. So although they haven't conquered the devil or completely resolved what's been devilish in their life, I feel like the fact that they can no longer upkeep a tower here with 10 wands in reverse, the straw that broke the camel's back here is the fact that they are now acknowledging that there's a devil, which is, 90% of the battle. That they've been controlled here or feeling held back or limited by a devilly energy. And so the month ahead here, I feel like this person hits a wall of surrender. I have a devil. I need to acknowledge that I have a devil. I need to understand what is devilly and what's not and why I've been held back. And because I can no longer carry this devil. I can no longer carry this devil. So I feel like this person does do this retreat here with the Knight of Swords. Knight of Swords is the type of energy that sort of confronts things head on. Is very honest, courageous, and ready for battle here. But I feel like, as we know with Dark Night of the Soul, sometimes it is very difficult when we don't know what's real and what we need to confront and what we need to do. And if we're being exposed, especially coming through as this wolf energy, so we retreat. And so this is why I feel like there's this winter period, because I feel like crow energy pulls away in some way or retreats. Feeling like this woe is me, which we generally kind of go through when we have Dark Night of the Soul, because we feel helpless. We feel like we see our devil and there's nothing we can do, and we're left out in the cold from the sea serpent and things in our life, and what do we do and what do we do, and this is my life and now I have nothing that I can do, and it's very hopeless sort of energy here. Okay, but the key is here, because as we know, Dark Night of the Soul is the shedding of the ego and the integration of what isn't real and the illusion, because the devil, although very real when we experience it, it is an illusion, because the devil is the lack of light and God energy, of us really being aware and present that there is no evil within us there is just darkness, and the darkness here is the lack of light and awareness. And once we shine our awareness and are conscious of our subconscious behaviors and addictions and behaviors that are unhealthy, we become very aware and we slowly eat away at whatever these actions are. We no longer sit here in the 5 pentacles. We grab the key and open the door, and we're ready to confront. This person isn't necessarily ready to confront, although this person is in this sort of had enough period. Like they have to do something here, okay? They can no longer run. They can no longer just pretend devil doesn't exist, or they can no longer pretend or be in devil energy without acknowledging. So they acknowledge, they're aware, and they're surrendering here, but they feel helpless, hopeless, and out in the cold. And so they abandon, or they just go into retreat mode. Whereas I feel sea serpent energy is that of Queen of Wands. Okay, this is a very positive energy, confident, manifesting, bringing towards what we want to manifest. I feel a divine feminine energy coming from this sea serpent energy. Okay, and I feel like this person is very aware of the masks they've been wearing with this shadow person and this Queen Wands, and any sort of anxiety they might have once felt in the past here, specifically when it comes to communication and relationships, or the connection they might have had with the crow, and all of the certain situations and experiences they've had with the crow, which might have led to anxiety and a heavy dark night of the soul and sadness and a state of feeling very frozen here by our own thoughts. There's a release. There's a release here, and that the anxiety that we felt was in our mind. And so I feel there's like a liberation here. And I feel like the crow person isn't capable at this moment to be emotionally available to this sea serpent person. Although there's lots of love here with the King of Cups. The King of Cups loves the deepest. In the reverse, I feel there's a block here in being able to express or be emotionally available, specifically from a heart space, because there needs to be a dealing of the devil. And so there is a block. But I don't feel like it impacts the sea serpent as much as it might have in the past. And I feel like the sea serpent is coming into some sort of spark of inspiration in regards to manifesting something for self. And maybe it's been a while, because I do feel like this sea serpent has been in a 9 swords for quite some time, you know, which is dark night of the soul, and feeling a lot of anxiety, potentially because there's been a stuckness here between the crow and this person, and just figuring out their own sort of shadow. So I feel like they're coming out of their own limitation in order to be inspired to have movement in their life, despite what's going on with the crow person here and whatever's been holding them back. 9 cups. Yeah, finding what makes them happy on their own without someone else, because 9 cups is all about self, emotional fulfillment, what makes us happy. You know, it's about self. So I feel like the sea serpent is manifesting self-happiness here for the month ahead, and not so connected to what is going on here with the crow, or at least not taking it so personal, because they're in this crone energy, which is an experience energy, knowing that someone else's energy and what they're experiencing has absolutely nothing to do with the sea serpent's value or self-worth. So if this crow person is removed or detached or cold or experiencing something challenging, it has absolutely nothing to do with the sea serpent and where they're at spiritually. Okay, so this connection, I feel like it's on a hold here, you know, and but although behind the scenes there's a lot of energetic shifting, independent, so there is movement, there's headway happening here, okay, on both of these people's sort of parts. I feel like there's an equal sort of progress, although I feel like the ascension here for the sea serpent is one of more closer to the divine and accepting sort of more of this spiritual opening of the unknown, and tapping into divine and this sort of more spiritual openness, whereas the crow is dealing with matrixy stuff, which it could be anything from unhealthy ways of thinking, being, addictions, and things that have held them back, you know. So it's progress. It's equal amount of progress, although they're on 2 different sort of places on the meter, if we were to meter these people out, okay? So this is what I have. pile number 1. I hope this helped you guys. I love you so much, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, my beautiful, gorgeous angels. You guys picked the pink flowers and the sparrow bird, option number 2. And we're looking at the person on your mind and the month ahead, energetically, between you and this person. This person could be anyone at all. If this isn't someone romantic that you're looking at, then leave those messages for someone else, because it's more the energy we're picking up here between you and this person, okay? And it should resonate. And I'm going to do like a person A versus person B. So you could be either side, A or B. And if you resonate with one side, whichever it is, then rest assured this is your reading and your person is the flip side. Sometimes there's mirroring, so it's hard to tell who's who. Okay, especially when we're intertwined spiritually with energy. So it could be that you might have a difficult time determining which side is you. So you lean on your intuition, what you will see, feel, or hear to determine whether the reading is for you or not. Okay, and ask for guidance. So we'll look at what is in store for the month ahead, but let's take a look at energetically where these people are sitting. Now, because again, month ahead is, you know, time related, I cannot tell you exact timing. This is approximation, okay? So you could be further along in the timeline, a little further behind. So this is kind of more of an approximation of time here, okay? So let's take a look at person A. So we have the river here with 34. 34 could be significant, or the number 7, and the river is all about emotions and the shadow self. And that came through very strong for pile 1 with the shadow self. Navigating our emotions. Here we have the goat, Capricorn energy coming through. Okay, and then we have healthy choices, making healthy choices in love and in life. Self-love, self-care, being happier, and then we have the whale. Whale energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. Big energy. Wowzers. Okay, let's take a look at person B. We have the tier 52 or the number 7. Interesting because 7 came out here as well with 34. 7 is all about faith, wisdom, reflection, and understanding. 7 is also the chariot in the tarot, which is about victory and forward movement, integrating shadows. We have the fish, Pisces energy coming through strong, but we could be resonating with Cancer, Scorpio. Yeah, same with the tier. I'm feeling Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy, very strong. Water energy, and then the Capricorn with the goat. And then we have the penguin, more Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces energy. A little bit of Capricorn still feeling. Okay, and then we have wedding rings. Union, wedding, married, soul connection, eternal love, and everlasting promise. Wowzers. Okay, so this is the energy between the two of you guys for the month ahead. Let's tap into this sort of who person A is, which we'll call the whale person, and then who person B is, which we'll call the fish person. So interesting that we have two sort of sea creatures. Okay, so both you and your person could certainly be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, like in your sun, moon, rising, okay, and reflect the same, or just very emotionally sort of speaking the same language, like cut from the same cloth when it comes to emotional understanding, I feel here, like from a very deep, deep sort of place. But let's tap into whale person first, okay? Give me a second here to tap into this energy. Okay, so I feel like this whale person has deep, 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 deep love, definitely for this fish person. Okay, there's no doubt about it. I feel like this whale person is determined to achieve something or to have some progress here in a connection with the fish person, whatever this means to the two of you guys. Okay, this is very determined energy. Although this person could be certainly very stubborn and fixed in their ways, I feel like there's a lot of determination here in achieving based on the love that they feel. And I feel this person feels a deep, deep, deep sense of love here. But I feel like this person has been working really hard on self and trying to make the best decisions in their life with this healthy choices and in this connection. Because I feel like this person might have had to really address certain parts of their shadow when it comes to their emotions, either how to express emotions, be aware of emotions, understand when they're acting out of shadow, really look at unhealthy things that they might have been involved with in their own sort of life, or specifically when it comes to how they engage in this connection. So I feel like this person has had to work on loving self, giving self-love, understanding how to become present and loving of this fish or accepting of the fish, but also how to make different choices, I feel here. Because the whale person here might have been somebody who could have at one time not been as engaged further ahead here as they are showing. Like they could have been stuck in shadow and maybe making wrong decisions or acting out of shadow in a way that might have caused consequences here between the two. And so how you'll know if you resonate here, this whale person has been a little bit more dependable, I feel here, and more aware of how they react and trying to choose the right thing to do and right thing to say and how to be in this connection, I feel, and in their own sort of life here, which could have been a challenge for this person. So they are working on integrating shadow, and I do feel there's conviction here with this person, but no question about love and emotions here run very, very deep. And I feel like this whale person does feel very happy in the presence of the fish person, but they're learning all about what it means to love self, what it means to take care of self, what it means to make the right decisions rather than potentially sabotage or act out of shadow because of hurts and pains. Okay, and so now with this fish person, I feel like there is sort of a lot of pain here that this fish person has had to carry in this connection. I feel like this fish person feels a little bit limited by what this connection sort of has been presenting on the surface to this fish person. I feel like it was restricting them in some way of what they could achieve or attain in this connection. So there was sadness here. And I feel like this fish person might have seemed a little bit aimless and not quite sure. Not quite sure about the future of this connection. Not quite sure about their own future. Not quite sure how to deal with the limitation. I feel like this fish person has been sticking to this connection as best they can. But I feel like there still has been some sort of mask wearing, specifically when it comes to addressing their pain. Because I feel like this person might be more hurt than they're acknowledging to the whale person in regards to their experience here. Because I feel like there was something this fish person felt in this connection that maybe didn't happen or is not happening or has not yet manifested or transpired that this fish person might have envisioned. Because I feel like this fish person has potentially made themselves available or is really committed to this whale person and potentially seen some long-term sort of union, some integration of a forever, everlasting sort of promise. But in a physical state here, it might have been limited by, I don't know, maybe logistically the whale person was unavailable, or there's something here that wasn't fulfilling this fish person. And so this fish person could have been on the surface kind of seeming as though they weren't quite sure what they wanted, because I think they did not want to stay in a state of uncertainty, and I don't think this fish person wanted to just be still. I feel like this fish person was restless because of the pain and maybe not having some sort of outcome or attaining something here in this connection that they envisioned. So they could have been kind of back and forth or not quite sure where this connection was heading and carrying this pain. But I feel like there was an unwavering sort of commitment here, or at least there was a desire here that they would make themselves available to the whale person if things were to sort of transpire in that way. I am being called to read this penguin. So as we know, this deck just absolutely loves when I read from the book. And now we have penguin. So let's take a look at what the penguin energy, shadow energy wants to say. And because it's not alphabetical, I have to find the penguin here. And then sort of gauge where it is in the book. So it's here, and that is, oh my goodness, and that doesn't help me at all, but let's do this. Penguin. Somewhere, no, too close to the back. There it is. Okay, so family and close relationships and social life. A gregarious critter, the penguin is all about family and loved ones, doing everything it can do to provide for its close relationships. A penguin is almost never by itself, knowing that a solid system of support is key to the survival of both the individual and the species. Humans are wired similarly. If you pull this card in your reading, it's time to reach out to your support system. This looks differently for each of us, of course, and may include family, friends, lovers, or even co-workers. Regardless of what your system looks like, something about the situation at hand requires you to reach out. Spend time with those who bring joy, peace, and healing. You've suffered in silence long enough. Let your loved ones be there for you. It's also possible that whatever you're going through directly involves your loved ones. If this is the case, it's time to weigh the importance of this relationship in your life. Do you want or even need this relationship to continue? If the answer is yes, is this conflict doing more damage to the relationship than it's worth? We must learn to pick our battles wisely, regardless of how this card applies to your current circumstances. The message is clear. Reach out to those you care about. So, thank you, Spirit. It came through again. This fish person has been hurt, and I think because this whale person has not made themselves available or understands the depth of the hurt of the fish here in this connection, and it could be because the fish needs more, understands that they need more, but also hasn't communicated the depths of them trying to sort of suffer in silence here, because I think they have been trying to support the whale or stick around in a situation here. Like I said, sort of, I feel a mask wearing, because it's like I'm strong enough to endure whatever I need to be here for the whale, although feeling kind of alone. And then there is an energy here of sort of an aimlessness of, where's this going to lead? And is this causing me more damage than good? Because I feel like this fish could have been very much supportive of what the whale sort of needs here at the own expense of the fish. Okay, so I do feel like there is sadness here and suffering in silence, and I don't feel the whale person knows the severity of how much this fish person hurts, and maybe even for this whale person, this fish might have seemed a little bit like, are they committed or not committed, or where do they kind of stand here? But I think when they seemed uncommitted or questionable is because they've been trying to protect pain here of getting more hurt or going all in a painful situation, which I don't feel they fully trusted here. Although I do feel like the whale has been very committed to this connection in their own mind, and maybe how they've showed up here might seem very determined and with conviction as far as the whale's concerned. But as far as the fish is concerned, they might have seen this as they weren't certain for whatever reason. And there was a lot of shadow sort of actions here. So it could have been that the whale person was acting out of shadow, which gave question to this fish person. But I do feel the fish person feels a very strong soul connection, and with the fish here being very psychic emotionally to this whale person, I feel it is mutual here emotionally with the two. So let's take a look at, if you resonate with this being you and your person in the month ahead, and what is going on here. Okay, so we have the veil, the beyond. esoterica and subconscious. Wow, the veil. Okay, well, that's all about the subconscious. Making things visible, and that's behind the veil. We have calcification, 64, or the number 10. And we have the raven's head, 47, or the number 11. 11 is about divine inspiration and the synchronicity. Raven's head, I feel like there is this calling. There's the universe sort of pulling at each of the whale and the fish in order to accomplish something here that I feel both parties are needing to accomplish in this connection, which will require them peeling the veil. And that's the illusion that they might have of themselves and the illusion they might have of this connection, to see beyond the 3D, the matrix here. See beyond what might seem stuck and rise above this and still fulfill some sort of, I don't know if it's an obligation so much as fulfill something here. I feel there's a need to fulfill something here. And this crow has a pearl. Crows are all about the afterlife, and pearls could mean a length of time that something is taking to form a beautiful pearl out of a lot of agitation and difficulty. And I feel like a message coming through as the timing is coming through as the right time, because enough suffering has happened. And specifically, I feel like there's suffering here, I feel, on both, because I feel like this whale has needed to make healthy choices and has been very focused on the shadow self, and it's been very self sort of focused, whereas the fish, I feel, has been selfless. And I feel like the suffering on both sides has been long enough to form some sort of a pearl here of now there being a mission of addressing what has been stuck here, peeling back the veil to have some sort of communication here in regards to a bigger version. Yeah, communication, texting, phone calls, online. So if you've been apart, fish person, whale person, been apart, then there is promise of a communication here. But I feel this is the unspoken, because I feel like there's been a lot of pain, and that's been on both sides. But I do feel in the connection specifically, the fish has sort of endured a lot here from the connection, whereas I feel the whales just carried pain in general. And so I feel like the communication here is revealing certain things here that allow there to be identification of what is stuck and what has been stuck, and what has been sort of the illusion, and what is hidden with the subconscious here, because there's now an open sort of dialogue, or at least a seeing of this between the two. And I feel like there's an action here, like there's this action that's needing to be taken, that the universe is now pushing for action, that the time is right for action, or things have been stopped. And I do feel it starts with the communication of pointing out where there's been an illusion or a block or a stuckness. Because in order to crack open this stuckness, there needs to be a pointing out of the stuckness or the veil. Children, childlike innocence and fun. So this is all about inner child. And I feel like this is also about early stages here of some phase, which I feel like this connection is returning to some place of innocence, which feels very genuine to me, where there is no veil, where we don't have to wear a mask, where we can trust and come from a very open sort of heart place, and not to be guarded because of maybe we've been hurt, or we have our guards up, or we're fearful, so our reactions are not authentic. And because I feel the universe here is really sort of trying to peel back anything that isn't authentic, to leave behind the innocence. so that there can be fun experience here between these two and real communication in regards to, I don't know, like a mission, coming together to form something here, tapping into the childhood of, or the inner child of each party here, things that maybe in the childhood has been sort of dissolved or addressed here with the subconscious, that has been a block with the calcification that has made each of these people sort of stuck in their own way, in their own life, I feel here. So I feel there's a trust in sharing this. So in the month ahead, I feel like there's an openness and an innocence, a trusting communication, an acknowledgement of maybe where there was mask wearing or falsities or things that weren't appearing the way they should. And I feel, like I said, there's this movement of the energy of the universe really sort of trying to move ahead with the perfect timing now. Ship, yeah, moving ahead. So the ship is all about forward movement, travel. Okay, 34 or 7, and 7 is the Chariot, which is all about movement and victory and integrating shadow, which is, you know, our inner child and childhood traumas that might have us feeling stuck or creating something in the subconscious that creates a lot of pain and we're having to deal with abandonment wounds or everything else that kind of creeps up, or why we wear masks, which I feel a fish person might have been in a heavy energy of wearing a mask, of pretending they were okay, although I feel like they were hurt in some way here. But I feel like in the month ahead, there's movement here, okay? And if you guys are apart, there's certainly travel, but I feel like the travel is in way of there being movement and communication, which makes progress here. And this feeling, a lot of movement here from this raven's head. And then we have the camel. Yeah, something that was very stuck, but I feel like it's taken a lot of perseverance. It's almost like a test of endurance here with the camel and carrying all of our baggage, and this taking quite some time, because I do feel like this fish person might feel as though this connection has been a very long, painful sort of process. Okay, interesting. We have 7 again, which again is the Chariot. Movement, where things were slow. Movement and communication and understanding, I feel for sure. Okay, if there isn't physical travel, there's definitely travel in the energy between these two, and the communication and identifying the blocks, because the first step in removing a block is identifying and discussing this. Because if there was any inner child traumas or childhood wounds or anything to do with inner child here that needed to be addressed in the subconscious, if we weren't acknowledging it or communicating it, then we couldn't necessarily deal with it. So I feel like there's an understanding here between two people. And I feel like there is this mission here of being called to move forward, is what I feel here in the month ahead on both sides. But I feel as though what's coming through is the whale person might be in more of an open energy to move towards this fish person, because I feel like this fish person has been selflessly sort of available. Okay, but I think they were starting to feel a little bit uncertain of where their future was headed with this whale, because there was no guarantee, there was no certainty, there was no promise of anything here that was going to lead this fish to anything that might have seemed promising. And I feel like this fish person might have really wanted some sort of everlasting promise, you know. And I do feel this fish person did feel very, very connected, and might still feel very connected to the whale. But I feel like if they were very connected, I feel like the pain has been one that's been so strong here, and that they've had to endure that, things might have started to shift in some way. But it's created this pearl, which is an understanding of unconditional love, an understanding of where they might have been traumatized or abandoned as children, or things within their subconscious that have been there that needed to be addressed, such as mask wearing or pretending to be okay, or not addressing the hurts and needing to be there for self. And I feel like the whale person has been very focused on overcoming certain things in their life. That's been self-focused, like addictions and bad habits and parts of self that might have been very toxic to themselves or this connection. So we're looking at Spirit, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 2 and the month ahead. What can this connection expect to see in the month ahead? Clear and concise energy for the greatest and highest good of pile 2. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message. For the greatest and highest good of pile 2. This fell exactly like that. Actually, it fell face down, but... So we have the Hermit, Virgo energy, 10 of Swords, 4 of Wands, the Lovers, Gemini energy. Thank you so much, pile 2, for allowing me to tap into your energy and the energy around you at this time. We have the Knight of Pentacles in reverse. And finally, why is this 4 of Wands here, Spirit, the month ahead? 9 Wands. And under that, we have the Devil. Don't read bottom of the deck reverse. And the 5 of Wands in reverse. So with the calcification we had in the middle here and the Devil, I feel like the Devil is where we feel very restrained, bound by certain situations and things here, okay, that keep us sort of stuck. And so I feel like this could be unhealthy ways of being. I feel like the Whale person might have had unhealthy ways of being as an individual in their own life. Whereas I feel like Fish person might have had unhealthy sort of connection, attachment here to the Whale person. But I feel together there was an attachment, potentially even an obsession here with this Devil I'm feeling, okay? But I feel like the obsession is the passion between these two. Specifically, we are feeling with the Goat here. I feel this Whale person is very determined to accomplish something or get somewhere with this Fish person. But I feel like the focus has been on something else here that has given the Fish person some doubt. But I do feel like the month ahead here is the coming out of any sort of conflict that these two have had. Because I feel like there's been a lot of conflict they've had to endure and carry through here and suffering with the Devil. I feel like the dance with the Devil has been very long. And so they both understand that there's this Devil energy that they've been wrapped up in. And they've almost come to some surrender of it and understanding, yes, I have Devil ways. And the first sign of having to deal with the Devil is acknowledging where we're in Devil. So I feel like there's been a lot of reflection. A lot of reflection here with the Hermit. And this is us going inwards. And I feel like there's been a pulled away energy from the two of these two because they've been sort of reflecting on what they want specifically for self, which has led them to not come together in the past here or choose each other openly in a balanced way here. So there has been a block with the calcification, which could have potentially led to an ending at some point. So I do feel like there was a separation, a time apart, a reflection period, but because 10 Swords is in reverse, I feel like it wasn't over. It was like a much needed pause. And again, like I said, if this is what's happening in the month ahead, you guys could be anywhere on this timeline, but I feel like for a lot of you guys, this pause is kind of coming to an end, that there has been a pause to reflect, that when things were very, very stuck and things weren't manifesting here was because there was a need to really dive into self. Whereas the Whale person really needed to deal with their own devils, really needed to lean into healthy choices because they might have had devilly ways of how they showed up in this connection, addictions in their own life, unhealthy things they were wrapped up in, shadow was coming out, dealing with emotions was difficult for this person. And then for the Fish, I feel like the unhealthy things was how they engaged or attached themselves potentially to this Whale, or how they might have perceive their own self-value based on how much the Whale was engaged here. So I feel like there was lots of conflict between these two. Okay, so what I see here is a coming together. If there's been a separation, there's like a reunion. There's a celebration. There's this union, okay, which is coming together, celebrating one another, creating the stability, the beginning of stability here, the beginning point of a milestone here. And I feel like it's due to this resilience, and because I feel like it has been a history here between these two with this wounded warrior. And so I do feel like this Fish person might actually be a little guarded because they've been hurt by this Whale person. So I do feel the Fish is a little untrustworthy untrusting, I should say, untrusting of this whale completely. And they are a little guarded because of, I think this might be something they've experienced with this whale person and have been let down, or just have been let down once too many here to completely just be open and come forward. Although I do feel like it's a cautious energy, but I do feel like both parties are willing to fight for this connection and call out the devil and where things have been stuck and where they might have seen disagreements here. Queen of Wands in reverse. So I do feel like this fish person is still really, really working hard on shedding mask. And the mask here is one of maybe pretending to be in an energy here that isn't completely reflective of how they feel, especially when it comes to the pain and what they want to manifest for themselves. Because I feel like this connection has not yet manifested for them what they want. And so I feel like this fish person is learning about self-worth. And I feel like this whale, so yeah, the fish person is learning about self-worth. And I feel like this whale person might have taken this fish person for granted. It might have not have treated them with appreciation here. And so this whale person might have taken this very personal. But I feel lots of love here. King of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, deep love. I feel like if this whale person has not yet expressed or shown a deep love here for this fish person, I feel like the whale person has reflected enough to understand how they feel here, and they're confident enough to communicate this, which I feel is the beginning of another phase here where things might have been very stuck. So if things were stuck and came to an end, I feel like by this whale person showing and extending a communication about how they feel, I think allows this fish person to not be as guarded and allows them to see the progress that they've made here. And I feel there is movement. Okay, I feel there is movement. Now I am being called to pull maybe 3 more cards here, just sort of as a wrap up in regards to the month ahead between, well, we have the Hangman, which we were feeling is all about the perception, start to see things differently. And this is Pisces, and then the Sun. This is, yeah, seeing things clearly, because the communication comes where things were stuck, where there was a veil, which is the block, the inability to see the subconscious, or the challenge and the connections now becoming very clear and apparent. So we start to see a different perspective. We're now enlightened with a new way of seeing things, maybe about how we've been, you know, like I feel the whale person might now see how they've been. And I feel like this fish person now might understand where they maybe weren't this sort of innocent, trusting energy, because they were acting from a sort of a guarded place of anticipating a hurt, or yeah, like I feel like there was some sort of mask wearing here rather than just allowing and trusting. So let's see. Final message here. Anything I've missed that pile 2 is needing to know in this connection right here, right now, between pile 2 and their person, that they need to know that I might have missed, any questions they may have, as a final message here for the month ahead between pile 2 and their person, spirit. Thank you so much. We're so blessed for this message. And one more, spirit. Thank you so much. Knight of Wands, and under that we have the Hermits in reverse, Virgo. Okay, so spirit is showing, without there being this complete sort of time apart, this reflection, there wouldn't have been an ability to move forward here confidently between these two. Okay, so the divine intervention, I feel, has been this pause, because I feel like with the 10 swords there's been some sort of separation in order for there to be reflection. And I feel you guys are coming out of Hermit, which is the separation, that heavy reflection. Now that doesn't mean you'll not need another period of reflection, because connections go through ups and downs and cycles, but I feel like whatever was kind of in a pulled away energy is now coming to an end in order for there to be a sort of a coming together here. And this is very quick moving energy, exciting energy, feeling very free and confident. Queen of Pentacles in reverse. I feel like this fish person is really having to learn a lesson in regards to self-worth and where they're sort of pegging their own value, because I feel like this fish person might have been really sort of attaching themselves to this whale person, and how this whale person would show up would determine whether this person was confident in self or their value. So I feel like this fish person is really still sort of peeling this back, like understanding that they are high value, that they don't need to depend on someone else to show up or depend on a connection here in order to be of value. I feel like this goat person is really attached here to this fish person as well. And this might be something this goat person will eventually have to also iron out, is how much are they depending on this fish person to sort of help them with their shadow, and energetically what this fish person has been sort of providing here to the goat, because I feel like this fish has been an unwavering, dedicated sort of energy here to this goat. 2 cups, look at that. Yeah, so if you guys were apart, there's certainly a reunion here, okay? And this is a balanced union between 2 people. So I do feel like a whale person might have not have always been balanced or available here to the fish. And I feel like this person in the month ahead is probably going to be there for the fish more than the fish could be there for the whale, because I feel like the fish has been running dry here in the desert. So I feel like there's lots of baggage between these two, but I feel like this whale person feels like they owe this fish person to show up and to produce to them what this fish person might have been producing to this whale person for quite some time. And I feel there's a very determined energy in pulling this through and finding this balance. Lots of love here, I feel, and lots of passion, especially with the devil. And here we have 8 Pentacles in reverse. So 8 Pentacles is the most dedicated card here in the tarot, and when we see it in reverse, it's like giving up before we've got started. It's also an energy of potentially being sort of overqualified here in whatever we're doing. Or so I do feel as though this fish person is potentially at the point of giving up, because I feel as though, again, this agitation to form this pearl has been a long process. And so I feel like this fish person might not recognize why the suffering or what's happened here in the pain, that I feel like they're just not in an energy here of giving. Okay, so maybe what's happening here is the tables have turned in a way that I feel like this fish person just feels like they can no longer sort of invest here. But because of this balance, I feel like it's the whale person stepping forward to give back to this fish person in a time where this fish person might feel really run dry. Okay, I feel like they're really run dry here because of their experience. So I am going to pull a clarifier here for this 8 Pentacles in reverse to see what is Spirit communicating here with this 8 Pentacles. Because I feel like the fish person could have certainly gave up, which might have resulted in that ending, or that 10 swords we were seeing in reverse. 2 wands and justice in reverse. And here we have the Emperor. And under that we have 3 cups. Okay, so Aries energy. 3 cups, reconciliation. This is the celebration we were seeing. This is being empowered, stepping up. This is divine masculine, taking charge. So I feel the whale could certainly be divine masculine energy here, okay? But I feel like the Emperor is coming through as this whale, which is taking charge of a situation to find the balance, to show the love, to reciprocate. Because I feel like this, what is it? Yes, the fish person did not find there to be justice or balance in this connection. It was highly imbalanced. And so I feel like this fish person could certainly be sitting here at a decision of, do I want to invest and continue pouring into a connection here in a situation that is more challenging than good for me, because it's been very draining. And they're at the point of needing to deal with this and recognizing this. So I think fish person has hit their sort of limit. Okay, there are limits, but I feel like what has happened is they've actually formed into this pearl. But I feel like they felt they were being maybe treated unfairly here by this whale, or they were giving too much and things were imbalanced. And so they're now considering. But I feel as though, because this is sitting at the crossroads, this is that 9 wands where the fish person is now a little defensive whether to move forward or not, and how much energy to output. So I feel like they're kind of reversed here, okay? They're kind of reversed here and very cautious about how much they want to input. But I do feel this Emperor energy is coming from this whale person to pay it forward, to show up. Okay, but I feel they're very dependent on this fish person, because I feel this fish person has been there, maybe very dedicated in this connection, like for a long period of time, you know, showing their endurance here. But I do feel as though there's this imbalance that's sort of coming into balance here, kind of karmically. Okay, so this is what I see for the month ahead. Pile number 3. I hope this resonated for you. I love you very much, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye. Hello, my gorgeous angels. Pile number 3. You guys picked the yellow bird, which I said kind of looks like a canary. I'm not sure what sort of bird it is. Sorry if you hear a helicopter in the background. There's my windows open because it's super hot in here, but it's a yellow bird nonetheless. Pile number 3, and what we're looking at is the connection between you and your person, the month ahead, okay, the person on your mind, and what will happen in the month ahead. And this is a reading that I promised I would do monthly if I feel called to do, and we did one last month. And so we're going to look at where's this connection sort of headed in the month ahead. So we'll be doing a person A versus person B, and you can resonate with either A or B. Okay, you can fall on either side. Sometimes it's hard to tell if we're mirroring each other, so use your intuition, what you will see, feel, or hear, to determine which side you're on. If you're on neither side, then that means this is most likely not your pile, and the person on your mind is going to be the opposite side. Okay, and then we'll look at the energy between you and that person for the month ahead. So let's look at person A and see who this person is energetically, where they're at, and see if you resonate. So 33 with the mountain, and 33 is a master number about reproduction, creativity, humor. 33 is about Christ consciousness, joy, and harmony. The mountain is all about obstacles and having to see our way through them. Okay, and we have the otter. I'm getting water energy, Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And with the otter, I'm also getting earth energy, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. And we have the pigeon. So a little bit of air in Gemini, Libra, Aquarius. Now, this does not have to be your sun sign or your person's. It is just energy that's coming through here. Okay, and then we have love. Unconditional love, self-love, oneness, passion, affection, and attraction. Okay, and now let's see person B. So we have apocalypsis, and this is number 74. Or a number 11, and 11 is also a master number. Divine inspiration, synchronicity, and the encouragement to keep going. And we have the horse, very spiritual. Horse is earth energy, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. Psychic energy coming through with the horse. Empath. And we have friend with the bunny, more earth energy. I feel an Ace of Wands here, which is about new beginning and inspired action. And we have karmic relationship, fleeting triggers, turmoil, resentment, lessons, letting go, and loving you. Okay, so let me sit with this energy first, and we'll tap into A, or we'll call this otter, and we'll call this person horse. Okay, so let me sit with the otter energy and see what we see with this person. Okay, so I feel like there is an unconditional love that the otter has for this horse. Absolutely. But I feel like the otter is a little hesitant and unsure of how to engage with the horse person here. Okay, and it could be just because there's been a history here, or things might have felt very stuck or challenging. And maybe it could be that the horse was very much the type of energy that maybe really wanted their independence, their freedom, and kind of would lead their own sort of way. And so I feel like the otter was sort of unsure of how to present itself or support the horse, and is kind of like playing a little bit of a follow the leader. But I feel the otter feels very, very connected to this horse person. So much so that I feel this otter feels at home with this horse person. Okay, and I feel like this otter could have certainly in the past, because I do feel there's a history here between these two. Okay, if there's no history, then this might not necessarily be your pile. But I feel like the history here is the otter could have certainly have tried to cut off the horse, or cut things off with the horse, or move on from the horse, or just had enough at some point, like there was just too much to overcome, and has had to really work on having to deal with how to move forward, because I don't feel this otter could let go of this horse. I feel like this otter felt very connected to this horse, so there was no sort of letting go, and there was a need to deal with facing certain things in order for them to move forward in their own life, and for them to find a way to still engage with the horse, or at least not completely scrap it and block it or move away and be in sort of ego energy. So I feel like there was a lesson here on unconditional love, tapping into the horse, oneness, knowing that this otter is connected to the horse, no matter how apart or blocked or separated they may be in the physical world. No matter the challenges, there's an unconditional love and an understanding of oneness and connection. And I feel like this otter has felt very challenged by this connection, like a lot. Like certain point, the otter might have felt like certain things they couldn't overcome, but they've had to really persevere. But I feel like there is still a hesitancy here, because I feel like the horse either hasn't made themselves completely clear to the otter as to what they want or what's happening here. So the otter's kind of in this energy of what's next, like what do I do next, what do you need from me, horse, universe, tell me what I need to do here. I'm no longer sort of feeling as trapped or stuck, but at the same time I'm not sure where I'm supposed to be going. Am I supposed to be working with the horse or not? Although I feel the otter feels very connected, like I said, feels almost at home and natural with the horse. They're at the point here where they've learned this lesson of unconditional love and oneness, that even if they were to move forward in their own life and come back to self, that there is an ability to detach from the horse if need be, but they're not sure if they're supposed to be detached from the horse. So they're kind of waiting for cues from the universe and cues from the horse as to what next. So I'm being called to read this pigeon. And because this book isn't in alphabetical order, I just flip through like an idiot of trying to find pigeon, which is right here. So let's go look for the pigeon in this beginning-ish area. Okay. Situational awareness. Knowing your way back home. The present moment. What comes to mind when you think of a pigeon? Your gut reaction may be a silly, if not ditzy. That doesn't make sense. Your gut reaction may be a silly, if not ditzy bird. Despite this, oh, I get it. I'm sorry. What comes to mind when you think of a pigeon? Your gut reaction may be a silly, if not ditzy bird. Despite this unflattering reputation, these birds have also been used to deliver messages, signals, and other life-saving information throughout history. Their use is recorded as early as 3,000 years ago in ancient Rome. If the pigeon, I don't know, is any other tarot reader here? Because do you guys find it very challenging to read when you're channeling? I mean, generally, I find it challenging to read, but when I'm channeling, it's like difficult to read. If the pigeon has graced you with its presence, now is the time to practice mindful awareness. Ground yourself into the present moment. Notice the space around you, its sights, its smells. Notice how you feel emotionally and how you feel physically as you take in the details around you. What new information emerges? Practice the same exercise for the situation that called you to use this deck in the first place. Alternatively, consider the idea that the only time is the present moment. We live in a society full of distractions. Grounding yourself into your body, your constant home, will bring you back to the present moment where clarity exists. Okay, so there was a history. The otter was challenged, very, very stuck. Potentially this connection was stuck. There was things they couldn't overcome. There was big obstacles to overcome. They dig a tunnel. Dig the tunnel through this mountain. They found a way, very resilient. And so I feel like they've come back to self, and coming back to self is understanding an unconditional love and how there is oneness. And I feel like this otter person is very much aware of who they are and what they want, but they also understand that they cannot control an outcome, and they also know that there is free will and conscious choice, that this horse person may not necessarily want the same thing, or that the outcome might not be the right timing in some way here. Okay, so I feel like the energy of this otter is one of needing direction, because they're not certain so far what the 3D world sort of has to offer here in this connection, or what they're supposed to sort of be doing now that they've kind of untapped this energy of unconditional love. Okay, so it is a very flexible sort of energy here, although I feel they've been kind of put through the ringer. And I feel they're very present and consciously aware of where things are at. Very sensitive to, okay, to what's going on. Now, the horse person. Horse person could be certainly very psychic and likes their freedom and very much in control of their own sort of independence here. Probably one who's liked the control in their own life and is probably chose to be alone or independent, but very connected to this otter psychically, energetically. I feel like at one point this horse could have certainly been running away or very scared of revealing themselves or opening themselves up to this connection between the horse and this otter. I feel like this horse person has been having to deal with a huge shift in their own life with this apocalypse, okay? Like, I'm feeling Scorpio energy. I'm also feeling Pisces energy coming through here. But I feel like there's been things in this horse's life that have been taking precedence over this connection, but also overriding this horse's free will, I feel here, or at least they feel. Very maybe pulled by devil, or situations that have pulled them into having to really resolve things within their own life, and circumstances and situations that seemed out of their control. And since this horse person likes independence and control, they felt very limited by their own ability to be free and independent and choose, and very restricted by what they had to sort of deal with. I don't know necessarily the horse has communicated this to the otter, but had to deal with this. And this could have been the period of time where this otter was feeling this mountain period, or mountain between the two, because it seemed like something that couldn't be overcome, especially if this horse wasn't really communicating in the 3D world all about the challenges and the struggles, because I feel like this has been a very sort of heavy energy for this horse. But I feel psychically there's been a telepathic sort of energy feeding to this otter, which left this otter a little bit confused at some point, because it's like this horse isn't communicating, although energetically they're giving me one signal, but in the 3D world there's an opposite sort of signal. So this otter is very in tune with this horse, although not confirming in the 3D here maybe what this horse is going through. I am being pulled to read this apocalypse to see what we see. $74. Right? Am I in the right book? Yes, I am. Oh my goodness, are we right at the end? Almost. Yeepers. Okay. Apocalypse. Removing the veil of deception. Lordy. Apocalypse indicates a particularly painful time, one that unfolds when two desperate dynamics occur simultaneously, pulling the psyche in seemingly opposing directions. The first is a lifting of the veil. This means truths that have been kept in the dark are revealed, seen, and unearthed. No matter how revealing it is to witness them come into the light, an element of despair and grief follows. The second dynamic is the regeneration that comes from the wreckage of the revealed truth. So we're getting tower energy. The old narrative breaks and the new story forms. Apocalypsis energy is similar to a forest fire's devastation for the sake of regeneration. The veil lifts and we see who and what has been hiding from the nakedness of the truth. A child is born. Have faith in the process. Hold on to your center. That is the only way. When in light, the unknown becomes known and guides the way. When it's dark, it's nihilism, fatalism, and hopelessness. So, demons that this horse has been battling here within their own life, okay? And I feel like the towers have been happening. Things have been falling apart that this horse is having to be dealing with. Telepathically, energetically, I feel like there was a connection to this otter person. And so the horse has been sending this sort of energy of how they feel about the otter. But because in the physical world, I feel like there's been a lot of having to deal with this tower and falling away of certain things that no longer serve this horse in their life, that the otter person would potentially return or make themselves available to a horse who was seemingly like they're wanting to be free and independent. But this was their need to be independent and free of things that weighing them down in their current life. So I feel like they'd run. And I feel like they're running as part of this mask wearing of the truth needing to be revealed of who they are and what they want. And so I feel like this horse person could have certainly felt very triggered by certain things that were coming up in this connection between the otter and the horse. And I feel like there's certain lessons here that the horse was needing to learn. For some of you guys, this horse could have certainly been in another connection. And if it's not another connection, it's a third energy. A situation, an addiction, a problem, a lifestyle, ideology, or belief system structure development that had a hold on this person and made them feel maybe very restricted, you know. And so because this is a free soul here, they might have been sort of saying, I want my independence and my freedom and to be single, free, and roaming. And this otter person was like, okay, so I guess this means you're unavailable. But this horse person was very much feeling the need for this because they were very weighed down by this third sort of energy, which was their karmic lesson. And so any sign of anything else that would limit them or restrict them would scare them and put them into running mode because of this energy they were needing to deal with. And so this otter person would take it as this horse person was not ready or wanting or available, which was kind of accurate, but it wasn't because of the otter so much as the experience that karmically needed to flesh out this person, which was dealing with things that needed to be revealed and shed and acknowledged and burnt away. And that the limitation that this horse might have made this otter feel that this connection would be wasn't really the reality so much as this horse feeling very limited by their own sort of circumstance and not available here to allow any other energy into the horse's field. Because I feel like this horse was very certain in regards to how this horse felt about the otter here. Because I think this horse sensed the unconditional love from the otter. Like, very much so. And I think that this horse maybe for the first time felt an unconditional love towards the horse, that this horse could be their sort of free self and still be loved here, that they weren't needing to be corralled or, you know, limited in any way, because I think the otter wanted the best for the horse here, but I feel like this horse was traumatized by some sort of energy here that they were needing to resolve, so they'd get triggered. So if the otter wanted a little bit more in regards to some sort of commitment or promise here from the horse would not be able to do this. So I do feel like the horse ran away or, yeah, did stuff here to make the otter question whether this horse was interested at some point. So we're going to look at the energy in the month ahead. If you agree with the energy sitting with you and your person, let's take a look at what's going on in the month ahead. So we have Wise Salt, 28, or the number 10, and 10 is all about the end of a cycle. Wise Salt is the knowledge we attain, so we could do things differently based on an experience we've had, which is sort of this karmic thing that we have. And I see the rainbow. The rainbow is all about hope, but it's also the different sort of perspectives we might have, that there's different shades and different ways we could see things. It's not as black and white based on the experience we've had. And we have vase, devastation, loss, and recovery. So I feel like we read about the forest fire of life here with this apocalypse, which is the tower energy. Things need to fall apart before they can be built. I think things have been falling apart here for this horse in their life. And I feel like this horse is on the verge of putting things back together with this Ace of Wands I was feeling with this candle and this recovery, because things have shattered in their life. But I feel like there's only so much of them sort of being shattered that it will sort of create a divide between the otter and the horse, that in order to come together and build something, that there has to be a coming together. And I feel as though the otter, although unconditionally loving here, I don't feel the otter is going to be here in some waiting on standby mode so much, because I feel like this otter is ready to come home. You know, and I feel like the otter feels the horse is home, but the home is also understanding there's oneness with self, that this otter is found a way to dig through to get to a place of peace with the understanding and the experience that this otter has had. But I feel like there's a promise of hope here, very strong between these two. And I feel like they have experienced a devastation and a loss. But I feel like the energy here is one of coming together based on an experience they've both had. And for some of you guys, if the otter left, because I do feel the otter did at one point hit an obstacle here, which was the reality that the horse wasn't available. And so the otter could have certainly just blocked, because the horse kept running. So although initially the horse was unavailable, the otter might have made themselves unavailable here at some point in time until they found a way to deal with whatever they were needing to face and deal with here based on an experience. And so I feel there's hope here and a coming together. The void. So we have number 42, or the number 6. 6 is the Lovers in the tarot, all about choice, balance, finding a way to find value between you and someone else, to find a way to come together and create balance. But I feel like with the void, I feel like there has been both parties not enjoying the connection so much yet, the fruit of what they could create. And I feel there's been an experience with the wise salt of an absence of each other. So you guys could be in a very long period of separation, or just haven't connected in a while here. And because the energy is very strong here, I feel the horse feels the otter unconditionally sort of loving and pulling, and the otter certainly feels that the horse's energy has been constantly pulling and very, very, very strong with the horse, all about horsepower, overbearing the otter, I feel at times. And I feel the horse senses that this otter is wanting to come home, and home is wherever this otter could find peace. And if it's not with this horse, the otter is ready to find peace. So I feel there's a void here, and the void could be very lonely here. And so both parties, I feel the void, but there's also a hope of potentially reconciling or trying to find a middle ground here, or see things differently from where they have been. Home, coming home, this homing pigeon. Property, real estate, residence. I feel like this is the 4 Wands, okay? So 4 Wands to me is reconciliation, marriage, union, coming together, coming home, building security, stability. I feel the otter feels very much at home with the horse, but I feel like if the horse is still dealing with this sort of turbulent energy, the otter is now working on their own sort of stability of what they need to build for themselves, because I feel like the otter has been really sort of stuck and having to overcome something very massive here when it comes to themselves because of their involvement with this horse. And so I think it's time for this otter to go home, to create something that is secure and stable and safe, because I don't feel this otter has always felt very safe Yeah, because the horse never really sort of allowed there to be this safe place for the otter to feel welcomed, loved in a way that made them feel like it was something they could build on. And it was mostly because this horse was dealing with things here that needed to fall apart in their own life. So they couldn't create the stability. It was all a karmic energy the horse carried. Okay, so it's this karmic relationship. And like I said, for some it could be another relationship. A relationship doesn't have to mean sexual or intimate. It could be with any other person or any other situation that's karmically tied to the horse's karma that needed to be resolved. Okay, so open relationship, no commitment, casual openness. So I feel like this horse was not able to present to this otter a commitment. I feel like this horse was one that wanted to keep the back door open. And so I feel like this horse here is still needing to resolve whether they want to commit here to this otter or not. And so this otter is kind of left in the balance, because I feel like this horse has been really wrapped up in dealing with this apocalypse and things falling apart and needing to really shed what doesn't work in their life. And like I said, for some of them, open relationships or other relationships and situations that have made them non-committal here, but have made them feel very empty. And I feel like both of these parties are feeling very empty without each other. But I feel like with the month ahead in this open relationship, I still feel as though there's no commitment here being solidified. Although I feel like there's a recovery period. I feel like there's an experience that's acknowledged. I feel like there's an understanding that's seen differently from the past. And there's an experience of feeling very alone or empty with this void energy. Look at the anchor. So one is all new beginning. I do feel like there's this recovery, this new beginning. Okay, a potential opportunity. It's also the Fool, which is new beginning and taking a chance. And it's also the Magician in the Tarot, which is about manifestation. And I feel like with the anchor, this is about the otter wanting commitment and security and a stable relationship, and the horse feeling weighed down because of the apocalypse and the karmic energy they were needing to deal with. So it's coming through that this horse could have certainly experienced a connection in the past that has made them feel like all connections or every relationship would weigh me down or wouldn't allow me to be free or would water down my independence or control me in some way. And so I'd feel very weighed down or heavy. And so they were wanting to keep things sort of open between them and the otter. And so they were needing to resolve this understanding because, as we know, relationships could be certainly parallel, meaning the otter could be independent and the horse independent and run parallel and sort of complement each other, but be free and independent if done proper, if not an unhealthy attachment. Okay, but I feel like if the horse experienced an unhealthy attachment, they could have some sort of trauma around being in a committed relationship and have some commitment issues. But I feel like the otter was wanting some sort of stable place to call home. So I do feel there has been a divide here, but I feel like this coming through with the month ahead, and we're going to pull the tarot to see. Let me grab the tarot to see. I feel like there's a need to sort of address this because I feel like they're on two different sort of pages when it comes to what this anchor represents. The Mask, 24, or the number 6, which is, again, the Lovers coming through. Okay, 6 is all about the choice. It's also about balance, divine partnership. And the Mask is what we read with this apocalypse. It's like allowing the mask to fall away and the falsities of how we're sort of pretending to be in one way that isn't really our true self, that has caused this horse to run, hide behind something because of the trauma and the need to heal from this karmic sort of trauma. Let's pull some tarot because to me it's not very clear what's happening in the month ahead so much. Let's see. Spirit for pile 3 and the person on their mind, energetically. What is happening energetically between pile 3 and the person on their mind? A deeper layer here, clear and concise message for the greatest and highest good of pile 3. Please protect me and the viewer as I channel this message for the greatest and highest good. Thank you so much, Spirit, and thank you so much, pile 3, for allowing me to tap into your energy and the energy around you at this time. I'm truly blessed. Thank you so much. What is happening energetically between pile 3 and their person, spirits? Are they needing to know right here, right now? All right. So we have temperance, healing, balance, masculine, feminine, showing up so that we can work together. That was, we were seeing 6 all across the board, which was that balance, lover's energy, choosing one another, but being sort of an equal partnership. With the temperance, Sagittarius energy coming through. Ace of Pentacles, new beginning. Now this is in reverse because I feel like there wasn't an ability to manifest. Okay, there wasn't an ability to actually manifest something in a practical way here between these two. But things have been shifting. And this death and rebirth is this apocalypsis energy. Because I feel there's a massive spiritual sort of change here going on in this connection between these two. Because I feel like the otters had to really dig through big challenges and obstacles here. Specifically how they related or connected to this horse. And so I feel like there's massive transformation on both ends. And I feel like this is shedding all the old things that don't serve us, don't allow us to manifest new, that have us sort of stuck. And I feel like karmically, the horse is really having to shed lots of self here in order to be reborn, in order to show up here in a balanced way in this connection. Scorpio energy. And here we have the Knight of Swords, very quick moving energy. And this is us sort of full steam ahead, facing what we might have ran from in the past. Okay, and we see the bird here, which is up high, which is all about ascension and seeing from a different sort of view. And we were getting the rainbow, which was all the different perspectives that we might have not have been seeing. We might have been very black and white, you know, and I feel the black and white here is maybe a connection would be weighing me down, commitment would weigh me down. I want an open relationship. I don't want to be controlled or stuck in anything here because of what I've experienced in the past. And this is sort of black and white thinking, when with the rainbow here, it's I could still be in a loving sort of connection here and still be free and independent and sovereign from the otter energy, and still engage and be loved in a connection here. So I feel like this is a confronting a challenging situation that the horse might have had a very difficult challenge confronting because of all this change. And because death is in the upright, I feel like there is a lot of the shedding of the old here. 7 of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, I feel like this otter could have certainly have given up on their waiting or their nurturing or trying to manifest with the horse, because I feel things weren't practical coming together. And so I feel this otter could have certainly either just completely pulled away or no longer is in an energy here of pouring into this horse. Okay, so I feel like this has triggered this horse into some sort of awakening, some sort of need to shed what doesn't work, and activated them to want to come into some sort of balance here with this otter and step forward. Yeah, very quick energy I feel here, like almost this fight or flight. Like if I don't act now, I'm going to lose the otter. And the otter is either pulled away or not energetically engaged as they once might have been, trying to protect this connection or energetically feeding this horse energetically. I feel like there is a pulling away or a giving up, because I feel like nothing has really been visible here to the otter. And again, important to the otter is this stability, building something they can actually see here that would provide them safety and security, like this anchor, stability, something they can actually anchor to. The Devil. So horse is working through Devil. Capricorn energy. Unhealthy things that have us stuck, that make us feel like we're stuck. Okay, this is this karmic sort of situation because we're dealing with things that hold us back in life. And I feel like this horse has really been having to shed big parts of how they've been showing up in this connection. Although I feel like there's still unhealthy parts of this horse that's still there. That I feel this horse is now in high gear here to face what they need to face, address what they need to address, burn fire to the forest, which is dead parts of themselves, to set ablaze so that they can release any part of the devil. Because I feel like this obviously is a big part of healing what they need to heal, but it's wanting to come into balance so they could show up in an energy that can work with the otter, so they can come together to create some sort of synergy. Okay, but I feel the devil still remains. And so the process here for the month ahead is the horse releasing parts of the devil, confronting parts of the devil as they sense the otter sort of in this pulled away energy. And as the horse senses things haven't manifested here, I can't really build anything here in the energy that I'm in until I completely shed what doesn't work and what's holding me back here from coming together. Yeah, 2 cups. So I feel like this otter isn't opposed to coming together, although I feel this otter wants commitment and stability. Okay, they want balance, and we're seeing the Lovers we kept seeing, which is a destined partnership of balance. And I feel like this horse also wants the love of the otter back, but is now acknowledging they need to confront the devil. They need to acknowledge where they're stuck. They need to acknowledge they can't manifest anything new in their life and show up in a balanced energy unless they deal with this and shed parts of themselves, which is all about this karma. Okay, we need to deal with the karma situations. We can't just avoid and ignore. And I feel like if this person was avoiding and ignoring, it's kind of bubbled up to the surface where they're needing to deal with this. So I feel like they're instead of shying and running away here, which they might have been doing, certainly running away from the connection, but I feel like running away from responsibility or facing what they were needing to. They're now in an energy of, I want to confront this. I want to ascend. I want to see the bigger picture here because I recognize I haven't been manifesting, protecting, and growing the connection between me and the otter. Now, I don't know whether this person wants commitment or not, but I feel they want balance. I feel they want to come together. I feel there's a lot of love here on both sides. 9 Pentacles. Yeah, it's like this is us standing on our own, confident, but it's also the sovereign card, right? Or independent self. I feel like this horse really, really is the, I want to be single, independent, successful, but understanding that you could be a 9 Pentacles and still be in a connection here because you're confident in yourself to be independent in a connection with someone else without them, you know, controlling your sort of destined future here. Because unless we're really fearful of intimacy here, we don't fear what someone else sort of shows up. We know we're strong and independent and secure on our own. And I feel like this horse person really values their independence. And I feel like they were wanting to know that they could be sort of independent, free. And I feel they're breaking out of karmic relationships so that they could be available, single, successful, so that they can be in an energy to work with the otter. And I don't feel they always have been. Okay, so even if they were single and not in a connection, it was like single but still tied to a devil, so still bound to something. And the something was this karmic energy, this third energy that had a hold on them. So no matter how free and independent they thought they were or wanted to be, they were really imprisoned. Okay, the devil is imprisoned and bound because of this karmic thing, and then pretending with this mask here that they were free, or that this was all about freedom or all about independence. Meanwhile, there was nothing free about the devil and having to deal with certain parts of themselves that were very limiting. So let's pull sort of a final message here. Spirit, anything I've missed, any questions, pile 3 is needing to know here that I might have not have answered, to provide clarity in regards to the month ahead for beautiful pile 3. What is the energy for the month ahead for pile 3? Clear and concise message. Thank you so much, spirits. Final message for pile 3 for the month ahead. Okay, Eight Pentacles. Don't read bottom of the deck reverse, and the Five of Wands. Okay, so I feel like this otter is in an energy here that understands that they can spend all their time, effort, energy, dedication towards someone or something, but if the someone or something isn't balanced or providing them with the same reciprocity, that they have to be very careful where they invest. So I feel like this horse wants to put forward effort, because the main conflict here between the two with this Five Wands is the fact that I feel this otter could have been energetically trying to make things work with this horse, and the horse being completely unavailable and putting in the effort and the energy. So I feel like the effort and the energy is this horse working on self to find balance, to make themselves available, to deal with the conflict so that there isn't conflicting sort of state of minds here, but also where the horse isn't as conflicted about where they want to invest. Okay. So we have Nine Swords, which is the anxiety. I feel like with the Void here, I feel both parties have been in this Nine Swords, because I feel they feel apart from each other. So I do feel if you've been in a separation, both parties are feeling it. This is where we can't eat or sleep, you know, because we're just really anxious. And I feel like it's an anxiety here of being apart and thinking the worst thing could happen, that there's like a forever separation here. But I feel like this otter understands that there's oneness here. And I feel like the otter has been dealing with their anxiety a little bit better. But I feel this horse is now having to really acknowledge the anxiety that they are feeling, because this Void being separated from this otter has been very heavy. Okay, so we have the Page of Pentacles in reverse. Yeah, nothing really manifested here, because the horse wasn't allowing themselves to open themselves up to opportunity. So very blocked with manifestation. Eight Cups in reverse, stuck in a karmic situation, unable to walk away from situations that emotionally weren't fulfilling with the Eight of Cups in reverse. This is sometimes having to retreat into self to really see what emotionally fulfills us, but staying stuck in the same sort of situation. That's that devil energy, not capable of leaving or breaking free to find our emotional fulfillment. Ace of Swords. So this is this in reverse. This is this mask. Okay, Ace of Swords in reverse is we're not seeing the honest truth, or being completely clear or truthful with what we want. Walking, talking our truth, seeing clearly. We're kind of lying or not too clear or certain. And I feel like the horse hasn't been, because of the fact that they've been emotionally involved in something they couldn't leave or see a way out of, or be honest with themselves about how it wasn't bringing them emotional fulfillment, causing a lot of anxiety in this horse's life and not allowing them to manifest what they want. And I feel they wanting to manifest something here with this otter, but they're incapable of doing this unless they put the effort and the energy towards what needs to actually be put towards. Hermit in reverse. This is Virgo energy, and it's doing the inner reflecting and work. And so I feel like this week ahead is the horse recognizing that they've been engaged in things that have emotionally not been fulfilling and causing a lot of anxiety, for the simple fact that they haven't been able to really tap into what they want and who they are. That they've been wearing a mask. They haven't been very clear about what they want and the future of where they want to invest. It becomes very clear to this person, I feel here, that they've been heavy in anxiety in this state, and that there's a need to put in the energy towards really sitting with truths rather than being unclear about their future or what they want, and the fact that there's a lack of manifestation. Four Pentacles, very stuck energy, hanging on to something. Okay, the Four Pentacles is where we're hanging on too tightly to something we know, or a comfort zone. We're not allowing to let go and choose something else, because we might risk something, and so we feel like we don't want to risk anything at all, so we're stuck. So I feel like there's a realization that the horse has that they're stuck. Okay, and I feel like this is brought about because I feel like there's a void energy of distance between the otter and the horse, but I don't feel as though there's a whole lot of sort of shifting in regards to what the otter is going to see so much aside from what's happening behind the scenes with the death card that we saw. There's like shedding of unhealthy things, acknowledging masks, and dealing with things that are unclear. Okay, but I feel like the devil certainly has this strong hold on this horse person. So I'm going to pull 3 cards kind of as a final, as advice or guidance here. And I don't know whose guidance is going to come through, whether this be horse or otter. I do feel like you're probably here as the otter, but let's see. Spirit, final guidance for the viewer. What are they needing to hear as we wrap up this final message for the beautiful pile number 3? Final message, advice. So we have Ace of Wands, new beginning. Now that is in reverse. Ace of Wands, final message for beautiful pile 3. 8 Pentacles. And 7 of Swords in reverse. Bottom of the deck, 4 Pentacles. Okay, so the biggest challenge is the horse is stuck, hanging on to things that are karmically needing to resolve itself. Maybe very stubborn, very held back, very accustomed to the same old sort of thing, unable to manifest here in this connection. Okay, but the advice here is that there is a lot of passion here from this horse, and I feel like Spirit is showing that there can't be forward movement here until this horse person puts in the energy and the effort towards this connection. But specifically, they have to work on self and releasing and acknowledging this, which is what this person is working on with the 7 Swords in reverse. This is all about wearing the mask, being deceptive, not being honest with self, potentially self-sabotaging, you know, holding things close to our chest, not wanting to reveal our true sort of intentions out of fear or being exposed or whatever the case may be, or just being deceptive or not very clear and honest. So I feel like with this in the reverse, this is the thief returning the swords. This is the truth comes out. So Ace of Swords in reverse was we weren't clear. So wherever this person was unclear, wherever this person wasn't being honest, it's coming to the surface here. And this is what they're working through and working on and investing their energy in dealing with the release of this, because they understand they're not able to manifest. And although there is passion, it's stuck here. And so the advice is, if the otter feels passion here towards this horse person, to not sort of act on it, because there's still a lot of work here is needing to be done in order for there to be balance in this connection. So the ball is sitting here with this horse. Yeah, they need to come out of this 4 Cups, which is 4 Cups is unrequited love, or we're focused on what didn't work and needing to heal, and focused on the 3 Cups, you know, this karmic thing, the third energy. Meanwhile, the cup was being offered by this otter. The horse was kind of distracted, not interested, more focused on what they were hanging on to here. And so this could have really tore apart this otter. You know, this was the mountain this otter was having to work through. That this horse's despondence had nothing to do with the reflection of who the otter was. And this otter worked through here with unconditional love. And I feel there's a lot of passion. Okay, but I feel like this 4 of Cups has everything to do with this horse's sort of situation and having to deal with this spiritual change and this karmic situation in which they're needing to bring to the surface everything that's been sort of a lie in their life. The falling away of the mask, the shedding of things that need to be burnt off, putting in investing time in order to find balance, not be so focused on the things here that were distracting or not mattering until they overcome this karmic sort of energy. Okay, so this is what I see for the month ahead between these two. I hope this resonated for you guys. I love you very much, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.